Let me guess. You're planning a trip to Iceland, you have 47 tabs open on your laptop, you have a Google Doc that's already 6 pages long, and one of those days has 12 stops planned. No, stop. I've lived in Iceland for over a decade. I've driven these roads more than I can count, and I'm gonna tell you something that other blogs won't. Your itinerary is too ambitious. And if you don't cut some of it, you're going to be spending a lot of money. You're gonna feel tired, rushed, and maybe even disappointed. Definitely not the trip that you were dreaming about. So today I'm gonna walk through the exact mistakes that I see people make when they're planning their itinerary and how to fix it before you waste a single dollar. Let's get into it. The first mistake I see is people blindly trusting Google Map driving times. You pull up Google Maps and you see, okay, the drive time from Reykjavik to Vik is only 2 hours and 25 minutes. Great, that's our day. So you think to yourself, great, I'll leave our hotel at 9 a.m., we'll drive, be there at 11:30. But Google Maps is gonna give you drive times in a perfect world. What it's not accounting for, weather, road conditions, a big tour bus that just dumped a bunch of people off at your first waterfall stop, hurricane force winds that make you drive slower than you want to, not to mention the daylight hours. So again, always different depending on which month you're traveling. If you're leaving at 9 a.m. in November, it's gonna be dark. If you're leaving at 9 a.m. in June, broad daylight. So a good rule of thumb is to take the Google Maps driving time and add about 30 minutes. So instead of that 2.5 hour drive from Reykjavik to Vik, you're thinking 3 hours minimum, not including stops yet. Another problem I see all the time, and this is the big one, too many stops in one day. And no one wants to tell you this because people want to see all the things. They want to go to every waterfall stop on the South Coast. And a lot of blogs will say things like 8 must-see stops on the South Coast. And someone will just take all those stops, put them in their Google Doc and say, we need to go to all these places. And it makes it sound like a fun checklist. Don't get me wrong, all of the stops on the South Coast are beautiful, but you can't do all of them in one day. I mean, sure, you could sprint from one place to the next and stop, take a photo, get back in your car, drive as fast as you can to the next, but you can't actually be at all of them. Do you see the difference? My honest recommendation after driving these roads many times, I would keep it to about 4 major stops per day. It's on the conservative side, but it will ensure that you had plenty of time to eat a meal, use the restroom, pull off or take photos of random things that you see that you want to capture, the drive times, which, as we said, can take a while. Anything that you didn't account for, like a road closure, taking time to pay at the parking lot and then walk to your site, all of those things. It also gives you time to layer in things like an excursion. So if you want to do the glacier hike on top of that or the Glacier Lagoon boat ride, you can easily put that in. If you want to do a hike, you want to hike to Glimmer, you want to hike to Reykjadalur, that's not just a sightseeing stop. That's not just a get in and out of your car and walk to Skogafoss stop. That is a multiple hour commitment, all things that take up a lot of time and also add a lot to experiencing Iceland. That is like, I don't really know anyone that just wants to drive from point A to point B, get out of their car, see the thing, get back in their car, and repeat. All of those experiences are things that make the trip wonderful. So you want to make sure to account for them and leave space in your day for them. The bottom line, cut the stops. Okay, so at this point, I feel like you guys are saying, I already built my whole itinerary. I don't know which stops to cut out. I want to see all the things. I want to go into the Highlands. I get it. This is exactly why I built my itinerary review service. You send me the draft of your itinerary and I'll go over it. I've actually driven these roads 1,000 times. So I'll flag if pacing doesn't work, fix the route problems, tell you what's not worth your time, and suggest smarter alternatives. I'm not gonna make you start again from zero. I'm just gonna give you my expert local opinion, a fresh pair of eyes to look at your plan and to really help you have the best experience. So if you have this feeling that something is a little bit off with your plan, but you don't know exactly what it is, it's better to fix it before you leave home. Link in the description for my itinerary review service. Okay, let's get back to it. Here's a line that I say all the time, and it is no joke. Iceland has 2 seasons, winter and winter light. That's it, just a lighter version of winter, like without the snow. The warmest it's gonna get all year, June, July, a little bit of August. Everything else is just a variety of winter. The shoulder months like April and October are way more winter than people realize. I feel like I need to make a petition for April to be an official winter month in Iceland because we can get crazy storms, snow, slush, ice, hail, all of the things in the month that you're wanting it to feel like spring. But why does this matter for your itinerary? Because daylight changes everything. Late June, 22 hours of daylight. You can drive until 11, 12, 1 a.m. and still see perfectly. Late October, 8 hours. December, 5, 4. So the itinerary that looks good on paper and looks super fun is not gonna work if you run out of daylight hours. Another factor is weather. So a 5-degree Celsius day, which is about 41 degrees Fahrenheit, with a 20-mile-an-hour wind, which isn't uncommon, and rain, starts to feel much colder. The stops are gonna look way different than the Instagram photos you save. You're gonna move slower, you're gonna need more breaks to go indoors and warm up or grab a coffee. Those are the kind of things that I'm talking about that will add up and add more time to each day. So before you finalize your itinerary, ask yourself these things. Where am I actually going? Does my plan, the time of year that we're going, account for the daylight and the weather that month? Not the blog post from some July trip that you're looking at, your month. Okay, the last point, and this is going to ruffle some feathers, but honesty is the name of the game here. These are the stops on a lot of itineraries that are not worth the drive time. I'm gonna pick 3. Number 1, the plane crash on Solheimasandur. It's famous, Justin Bieber had it in his music video. It's on a lot of lists, it looks cool. It's a US plane on a black sand beach. It's also a 45-minute walk each way, or you can pay to use the shuttle. And then once you get out there, it's a plane on a black sand beach. I mean, if you're a history buff or super into that style of photography, I could see where it could be a cool stop, but I usually cut that first out of a lot of itineraries that I review because my personal rating of that stop is about a 2 or a 3 out of 5, if I'm being generous. And I say that because it's going to take so long, and I tend to cut that stop rather than one of the cool waterfalls, for example. The second one on my list is Kerið Crater. I really debated on this one because I personally like this place, but the problem is there's a lot of problems. If you're planning to go to Kerið any time between November through April, like, it's not exciting. It's just a hole in the ground and it's gonna be covered in snow or ice, or it's just not gonna look great. It's just not going to. It's not gonna look like the photos. 2, they started charging admission per person, and so it just is, you know, one of those things that changed the experience. 3, it used to be considered a hidden gem. It is not anymore. I mean, they've expanded their parking lot. I just drove by there the other day. There's like a food truck on site. It's becoming a very, very popular stop. So it's just flooded with people. I'm just starting to rank that one a little bit lower on my list. If you disagree with me or it's something that you really want to see, also fine. 3rd place that you could cut, in my opinion, is the bridge between continents. I choose this one because this is one that sounds cool on paper. Walk between 2 continents. But once you get there, the continents are not very obvious. There is a bridge, but it's just like a small metal bridge. Unless you're doing more things out on the Reykjanes Peninsula, I just wouldn't, because you're driving away from a lot of the things. And I love, that's actually being said from someone that likes going around the Reykjanes Peninsula, because usually tourists are skipping it. But I think if you are really wanting to see the continent split, I would personally choose Thingvellir over the bridge between continents. It's just one of those places that's very similar, and the bridge between continents is usually a bit disappointing for me. Again, not a bad place. We're talking about places that you can cut compared to some other places, and I feel like that might be one of them. So if you're doing those 4 things, your trip is going to immediately get better, I promise. Now, the next question you're probably asking is, how many days do I actually need in Iceland to do it right? That's a whole separate conversation, and one that I've made a totally different video on. It's linked right here on the screen, so go watch it next. I'll see you in the next video, but until then, happy planning.